Hi, I'm Susan Crouch here in Joe's Test Studio, and I'm always curious about the materials other artists use, and I thought you might like to take a look at some of what I'm currently working with. I'll start with my palette, the paint colors. I use a variety of brands, Winsor Newton, Holbein, Daniel Smith, and American Journey, and I'll begin over here. I've got them laid out warm, working around to the cool colors. They're right here in the corner, starting with Winsor Lemon. Next is New Gamboge. This is Quinacridone Gold, Quinacridone Burnt Orange, Paranone Orange. This is a Daniel Smith color. Winsor Red. In the corner here is Permanent Alizarin Crimson, Permanent Rose, Quinacridone Magenta. This is Winsor Violet. In the corner here is Ultramarine Deep, Cobalt Blue, Winsor Blue Red Shade, Winsor Blue Green Shade, Cerulean Blue, Royal Blue, and then Winsor Green Yellow Shade and Winsor Green Blue Shade. So those are my palette colors. The palette itself, I've had this for years and I love it. It's a John Pike Big Well palette, and I love it because it's so sturdy. Got plenty of mixing space. I've got the mixing space here, and this is the lid, but that also doubles as good mixing space. And I like the fact that the wells are shallow, and I can easily pull my paint out into the mixing area. There's 20 large wells. So this is what I use at home and when I travel, but also at home in conjunction with this. I use the American Journey porcelain butcher tray, and I love that because I love how the paint just lays flat on that surface. It's easy to clean, it doesn't stain. So those are the palettes that I use. And this is Cheap Joe's Extra Color palette. I use this for the colors that I'm experimenting with that haven't yet found a home on my palette. They may not find a home, maybe they will, but I'm just experimenting with them. And I like this because you can actually write in pencil right under your color, and if you decide to swap that color out, you can erase it, and it's just a really nice little portable extra color palette to use. Okay, my brushes. This is an American Journey brush holder, and I've got it laying flat for you, but it does stand up so you can work at your working space with your brushes standing up. But just to give you an idea of some of the brushes that I'm using, I do love these American Journey rounds. I've got sizes 2 through 12 here, and I also use a number 2 rigger, and this is an American Journey 1-inch flat. And you might notice the tape I've got wrapped around the handles. Sometimes I paint with 2 brushes at a time, and the blue tape these are my newer American Journey brushes, and these are the ones I've had for a longer time. So the blue ones just let me know these are the ones with the sharper points. So these are my American Journey brushes. I love the fact that they're affordable, for one thing, and even though they're synthetic, they hold a generous amount of paint, and they work really well with my technique. Got real nice spring to them. So these are my American Journey brushes. This is a Winsor Newton Series 995. This is an old one. I use this right now for digging paint out of my palette when I'm just mixing paint. These are the Cheap Joe's Artist Sketching Pencils. I've got the whole set here, and I use these for when I'm actually making a drawing, but also when I do value sketches, really important for me. So these are the things that are in my brush holder. Let me put this to the side. The paper, I don't have a sheet of paper here, but the paper I'm currently using is Arches. I like both 140 weight and the 300 pound. I really like the 300 pound because you don't have to stretch it, but this paper just works really well with my technique. It handles masking fluid well, and I like the amount of sizing that it has. So that's the paper. This is Pbo Masking Fluid. And I like this because it is gray. I know that you can get masking fluid in a lot of different colors. I like to be able to see where I've put it. And the fact that it's gray, it doesn't interfere with any other colors you might already have on your painting. Easy on, easy off, I like that. This is it's pretty worn out, but it's my Cheap Joe's masking fluid pickup. You can pull masking fluid off your painting with your finger if you have to, but I prefer using this little pickup because that way you don't get the oil from your fingers on your watercolor paper, and that could interfere with how the paint adheres to the paper. So that's the masking fluid and pickup. A little Cheap Joe's white eraser. I like this because it doesn't mess up the surface of the paper, and if it gets too covered with graphite, I'll just pull out an emery board and work on the areas that are dirty, and it just comes right up. So that's my little eraser. I do like using Susan Shiwi's graphite paper. It's wax-free, and I like the fact that it's small. Sometimes when you wrestle with a big sheet of graphite paper on your watercolor, you can just get too much deposit on the paper, and this prevents that. So I really like working with this. Okay, this is my brush blotter, my high-tech blush blotter, and I'll show you how I make this. It's just real simple. These are Viva paper towels, and I just layer 6 of them, and then tri-fold it, take a toilet paper roll and put it over, and then just pop it in the little container, and it's real handy because you can just swap this out for a clean one whenever you need to. I like using 2 water containers, one for clean water, one for dirty. A lot of times if you're picking up a load of brush water that's dirty and you put it on your watercolor paper, you might deposit color you hadn't intended to, so that's why I like having 2. This is my little Windex spray bottle, a good way to recycle your spray bottles, and I use this also for a couple of reasons. I use it to re-energize my paints if they've gotten dry, and I also use it for spraying into a wet wash to create texture with the water droplets. I use that technique a lot. The standard paper towel and Kleenex, that you've got to have that. This is my support board prop. And I learned this in a workshop. I don't remember which one, but I'll show you how I made it. I just took a sheet of foam core, this is a 15 by 26, and scored it with my mat cutter. So you can tri-fold it, and then secure it with duct tape. And then I just took a piece of, this is that rubbery kind of shelf paper that you can buy anywhere, and just put it around the center and also secured that with duct tape, and it just keeps my support board from sliding off the prop. And I need to tell you about the support board. This is Gator Board, and I've got it in a couple of different sizes, but I like this because it's lightweight. It handles either tape or staples, whichever way you're going to secure your paper to the board. But something else that I like to do with it, I like to cover the edges with white duct tape. I don't know about you if you've had this experience, but I've dinged up the edges of these sometimes, and the white duct tape just gives it a little bit more reinforcement, protects the edges. So that's the support board. Oh, one little thing I forgot to mention with the masking fluid, little bathroom cup. When I'm working with masking fluid, I like to pour a little of it into the cup and then cap the bottle back up and set it aside, because sometimes masking fluid can dry out pretty quickly, and I'll just work out of the little cup rather than the bottle. The other thing you can use this for is if you like to use pouring paint as a technique, you can mix your paint in the cup and just use it, pour it right out of the little cup there. Another thing I use is this old towel. I lay it down before I start painting because I never know in a painting process when I'm going to need to stand up my painting on the support board and pick up the Windex bottle and start squirting if I need to add texture or create flow or remove paint, and that way I've got a surface to catch the runoff. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. These are some of the supplies I'm working with currently. I'm Susan Crouch. Thanks for stopping by.